welcome to my channel, Wildfoxstitchery. I'm Steph, and this is where I talk about my cross-stitching and other creative projects I've been working on. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, I hope you stick around because I love making new stitchy friends. We'll go ahead and get started today with this Flosstube. I think this is episode 8 already. So I tend to film a Flosstube every 2 weeks, so this will be an update on the last 2 weeks of stitching that I've been doing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the WIPs I've been working on in the last 2 weeks. Let's see, our first one is going to be a stitch along. It is the Secret Grove Stitch Along by NeedleLot Designs. And a part just came out on Friday. I think it was part 8. It just came out. I am not caught up on this one. It is, I think I'm still working on part 6. I'm almost done with part 6. So I'll show you where I'm at here with this one. It's still in this hoop because I will try to work on that this weekend too. On the weekends I try to work on my stitch alongs. I have 3 of them going on right now. This is one of them. So this is how far I've got. If you take a look here, I worked on this crow or raven and finished that guy up. So he is standing on an hourglass here that I need to add. There's a bunny over here, and then a smaller section was just released on Friday that I need to work on. So I'm using a 16 count Ada. Its color is lilac. And it seems to work really well with these colors. They stand out against this backdrop really well. Especially like how the lights are looking here. So that's one thing I worked on in the last couple weeks. The next one is a long dog samplers. It is called Fishy Goings On, and I just started it on 2/14, so February 14th. So in this one I kind of just work on whenever I have the chance because I love it. It's my favorite project right now. So I will show you where I am on that one. Here we go. I am stitching this 2/2 on 32 count Lugana using DMC threads. I have 4 colors altogether that I'll be using. I just added this color, this blue here in, and I think it works with the other 2 blues. I wasn't quite sure once I saw it in here, but I think it's gonna be okay and look good in the end. I really like how the gold stands out against the blue. So this one I really enjoy working on. Whenever I get a chance, I'll pull that one out. So I'll keep working on that one. Okay, what is the next WIP I have? Okay, so I have decided that I need to somehow work on some of these that are getting closer to a finish other than just when they're called on WIP Go, because everything is only on the WIP Go board once. So once it's called, I work on it, but I probably wouldn't pull it out again the rest of the year here. since it won't get called. So some of these, if I want to finish them, I should work on them other than that 1 month. So I decided I'll pick the project that is closest to a finish percentage wise and put in 100 stitches every day on that one until it's done, and then of course move on to the next one. So the project, and I just started doing this in the last week. I think I started last weekend doing that. So every day I've added 100 stitches to Sacre Coeur by Long Dog Samplers. I'll show you here what that looks like. I had already worked on this year for WIP and gotten quite a ways in the 5 days that I worked on it. Right now, this is where I'm at. I've been working down here on these two motifs. And this is on Ada. It looks to be 16 or 18, I can't tell. I started this one all the way back. Let's see, I started it on August 30th of 2018. So I have had this around for a long time. It's at 77% complete now. So a few more days of adding 100 stitches a day, and I will probably get it done here soon in the next couple of weeks, which is very exciting. I actually have never finished a Long Dog sampler before, so this will be my first one when it's done here. I'm using DMC thread for this one. There's two colors. It's 310, and it is also, the green is 906. So in the last week, just adding 100 stitches a day, I started out with this little section in the squirrel, but I've added all of this and this entire motif here, just doing the 100 a day. So it's working out really well to do that, and I think I'll be able to get a couple done this year that I might not otherwise have gotten to again. Okay, and then my other WIP was a full coverage piece. This one was called for WIP Go, and it's also my full coverage for March. So 5 days for being a March full coverage and 5 days for being called for WIP Go equals 10 days of working on this one. It is my biggest full coverage right now. It is called Queen of Wands, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's artwork by Selena Fennick. It is no longer available through them, although you can get it charted by another company, I think. So this is what it looked like before the 10 days of stitching on it. And this is where I've gotten to now. Over a page completed. And I am at, let me look here, I'm at 3.42% complete. So in those 10 days, I was able to add 7,379 stitches. So I feel like I made some really good progress on that one. Although I am ready to move on to another project now after 10 days of this. So it's a 25 count even weave. I'm doing 10th stitch 2/1, and it is looking really good, I think. You've got her hair here. The lion's face, one of the lion's faces is coming in. It's looking awesome. So this will get put away until May. In May I'll work on it again for another 5 days. So that's everything I worked on in the last 2 weeks. As far as my WIPs, what is next? We'll take a look at, I haven't had any new starts yet. I have 3 more new starts that are coming up in the year, which I get really excited about. I'm gonna wait till I get called on WIP Go though before I start them, so who knows when that will be. It is not gonna be in April because those have been called and I know what those are. The first WIP Go call for April is going to be my Death by Cross Stitch, which is very exciting. I'm actually really excited about working on this one. I will show you here what it's looking like so far. I haven't worked on this one in a few years. This is how far I have. So I started on the bottom left corner this time, which isn't normal for me. But this was a restart. I had originally started this pattern on the top left like I normally would. So since I restarted it after a while because I didn't like the original colors, I decided to start somewhere else at the bottom left here. And it has the year 2018 on there. I did start this, let me see when I started this, if I have it written down. May 16th in 2018 I started this. I really, really like the colors. So I'm really excited to work on this again. I am using DMC. I have them all in a bag here. Fancy bag to keep my colors in so I can tell you up. Look at this lovely mess here. Let's see what colors I'm using. I've got a 317 and a 37.99. So those are the two grays. And then I've got two, this color, 958 and 964. So those two colors. And two of this pinkish salmon color. So it's 3706 and 3705. So two shades of that color. So 6 colors altogether, a darker and a lighter shade of each color. So that's gonna be fun. So I'll work on that for 5 days for the WIP Go call. Coming up here in April. Let me fold that up and put that away. Let's see how big I just want to see how big the fabric is. I cannot. Oh yeah. That's gonna be a project that takes a long time to finish. It looks like I need to do something on the edges. They're really fraying too. Okay. So the other WIP Go call is one of my full coverage pieces. It was Killers. So that will get 5 days for being a WIP Go call. I'll show you what that looks like here, if I can find it. Here it is. I just worked on this one for 5 days last month. This is where I'll be starting for April. I will continue working on the 310. I'll probably go to the next couple pages here for 310. So last month in 5 days I got 2 pages of 310 done. So I hope I can maybe do the same thing in 5 days this month or in April. We'll see. So because that full coverage was called for WIP Go, I still have my 2 April full coverage pieces, which are my other 2. So I've got Pirate Cat, charted by Unconventional Xstitch, and the artwork is by Natalie Ewert. So I'll be working on that one for 5 days. Let me show you what it looks like right now. Okay. This is where I am on Pirate Cat, where I'll be starting for April. All of my full coverage right now, the 4 that I'm working on this year, are all 25 count even weave 2/1 10 stitch. I have some older full coverage pieces that I'm not working on this year that I'll probably pull out next year. I think they're on 18 count Ada full cross 2/1, so that's going to be a little different, and it's also not on gridded fabric, so that will be even more different. Okay, and then the other full coverage for April that I'm going to work on 5 days will be this quick stitch Queen of Hearts, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So the 310 on this one is completed. Now I'm going to work on filling in the color. I will probably start in the corner here and just start filling in the squares as I go, as long as I have the colors. There are some colors I probably don't have yet, so I might have to skip those. It's looking really, really good right now. I'm glad I filled in the 310 first, so I can see how big it's going to be and what it's going to look like. It's kind of fun. That'll be the other full coverage for April. And then I will keep working on Sacre Coeur with 100 stitches a day in April. I'm thinking I'll probably complete that before the end of the month. So if I do, I think the next project that is close to completion is Coffee Quaker. I haven't worked on that this year yet. I'll show you what it looks like here. So that's this one by Heartstring Samplery. It is on the WIP Go board, so I'll eventually get to that too, but I'm hoping before that I can get quite a bit done, because this is where I'm at right now. And it's a paper pattern, so I'm not sure on percentages, but to me it just looks like something that is fairly close to being done. So I'll probably work on that one after Sacre Coeur is completed. And for some reason, I started back in September of 2017, so this is a really old one too. But for some reason, I decided to do a monochromatic one instead of the colorful, different colors for all the motifs. So I'm using, it looks like 28 count Lugana 1/1, and I know I'm using DMC 3808 because I have this entire cone of this color, so I must have really liked this color at the time and decided to do this whole sampler in one color. And so far it's looking good with one color. There might be a couple of, there's one motif that I'm gonna have to do something different. That's why I haven't stitched it yet. But this one here is, if I stitch that all in one color, it's just gonna look like a big blob. So I'll have to figure out something for that one. But everything else should work fine in one color. I don't think I really enjoy the 1/1 stitching as much as I enjoy 2/2 and making it slightly bigger, so I'll have to keep that in mind for future projects. Although I'm sure I'll still do it, just because it's sometimes easier to have a smaller project than having such a huge one. fabric in my stash that I can use. Sometimes requires 1/1 instead of 2/2. So that is the one I'll work on after Sacre Coeur is done. I'm hoping that will be in April because that would be really fun to get a finish. So that's all my plans for April stitching. The next section is going to be my second hobby that I talk about here, which is collecting patterns and kits, because there are 2 kits that I have purchased from eBay. They're used, they're already opened and everything, but I've checked to make sure that everything's there in the last couple weeks. So the first one, and I got them because they were opened. It was a really good deal. I figured I'd take the chance. Okay, so the first one is a Luca S. This one is called Wildlife of Predator. I really like this one. And who is it that's working on this? I think it's Ebony Stitch. What's her name? In Stitches with Ebony. She's working on this and it looks awesome. So I told her I'm going to be starting that next year and I'm really excited. That is on my plans for 2026 to work on that kit. So I did buy that. Everything is in there. The other kit is a Dimensions kit. And I have been looking at this one for years and I just never bought it, even though it's not really that expensive. But I wasn't sure if I really wanted it. And then I'll take out the picture so I can show you what it is. But it's this one here. This is from, I know there was a year on here somewhere. 2003. It's a 2003. And it's just so pretty with all those specialty stitches there. I found one that was a good deal, a lot cheaper than the others, and I bought it. It was pre-opened, and as soon as I bought it, I kind of regretted it because in the picture, I couldn't tell if the pattern was in there. I could only see the floss and the fabric, so I was a little worried, but it was too late, of course, by then. So I got it a couple days later, and thankfully everything was in there. It was a good deal. So I will probably work on this one next year too because I just love it. I'm not usually one for floral butterflies and flowers. I don't know though, I just really like this one. It's so pretty. Here's the rest of it. You've got the fabric. I'll probably pick a different fabric than this Ada that it's on, but here's all the floss that I'll have to sort. So that was fun and exciting to find those good deals and buy those. Other than that, I'm not sure if I have any patterns on PDF. Let me take a look real quick at my Etsy history. More than likely there is something that I bought. And while I'm looking here, I'll just remind everyone I do have an Etsy shop where I sell t-shirts and stickers. So this is one of my t-shirts. It says Weekends Coffee Cross Stitch. And I've got other cross-stitching shirts there and running shirts if you're into running, medical billing and coding shirts, a few other fun things. Okay, let's see. I did buy 2 patterns and they were Wednesday Addams patterns. So One of them looks like this. It's called Gothic Serenity. And these are both from the shop Cross Stitch Curiosity. So this is a full coverage, a small full coverage piece that looks like this. And then another one from the same shop that's like a comic strip. It's called Normie. It's this funny quote. So this is what it looks like. And I thought it would be fun to stitch, although a lot of 310 stitching again, which apparently I love, so that doesn't bother me. So that is the purchases I've made in the last couple weeks. I remember that a couple videos ago I said I wasn't going to buy any more Etsy patterns, but I just really should not say that because it's just never going to be true. If I see one I really like and it's on sale, I'll probably buy it and save it for the future. Which reminds me, I had a bunch of old cross-stitch magazines from, some I've gotten from the thrift store, so they were really old, like 92 and even in 1989, that I'd been saving. And then I had a couple subscriptions back in 2017, 18, 19 that I had saved. So instead of saving a pile of magazines, I went through last night and took out the ones that I might want to do someday, the ones that I liked, and put them in a binder. So let me show you that real quick here. Okay, I'm back. I thought it'd be easier just to take them out because the binder was too big. So these are just the patterns I saved from the magazines. Strawberry Harvest Hoop by Doreen Jones. Super cute. Here's a Spring Mandala. Ink circles. What's in there? A Spring Garland. That is, let's see, that's from April 2019, just cross stitch. And I don't know who, Susanna Lima is the designer. That's cute. Here's an old one from 1992. For the Love of Cross Stitch, May 1992. It's this pink bunny. Super cute. Someday I might do that. And then my son loves chickens. So I saved this one. It's called 3 French Hens. This is from Just Cross Stitch, June 2019. And from June 2018, another Doreen Jones. Snoozing in Sunshine. Here is a really pretty pattern from 1989, September, October 89 of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. This is what it looks like. So I saved that one. That is really beautiful. And then from the same magazine from November, December 1989 is this Santa pattern, which is really cute. So I'm saving that one. Shades of Autumn is, looks like this. And this is just cross stitch, October 2017. And then they had, in 2017, they also had this sampler, which was a 3-part series, and I have all 3 of them. So it's Woodland Sampler. Here is Autumn Wood Sampler. That is December 2017, just cross stitch. And from the same magazine, Fall Fox. Of course, I had to save that one. Here is a dancing mermaid. Let's see what that was from here. That was just cross stitch June 2017. And Joan Elliott, which you could probably tell. Here is the Primitive Hair, Be the Brightest. That's the same one, June 2017. Here's a Small Winter Sampler. I believe that is also from the Primitive Hair. And it was February 2018. And then you have Peace Angel. And that is February 2018 as well. Spring Hair by Leslie Tier, April 2018. A Spring Wren Wreath by Lucy Heaton, April 2018. Here's an older one, and you can see by the sticker on here that I got it from a thrift store. I don't know. Oh, this is March, April 1995, Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. And I saved this cute Easter bunny picture. And I believe in the same magazine was this one with the blue butterfly sampler. And then Tiny Modernist. I like this fox one here, so I'm saving this one. Woodland Friends. This is just cross stitch October 2019. And in that same one is a Halloween ornament by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Penny's Potions. Cute. Here's something from Blue Ribbon Designs called Hayride Happenings. That is in October 2018. And then another Blue Ribbon Designs. It's a Christmas ornament, 2 stars and a stag. So it looks like this. So out of all the stacks of magazines I have, I whittled it down to that many patterns in a notebook, and I'll probably try to print out some of my online patterns and put them in there too, just so I have them. Yeah, so that is what I've done with my stash this last week. There are 2 other projects that are not cross stitch, but they are fiber related. I know in my last video I mentioned I might try that needlepoint kit, and I did. I found out I had to get some stretcher bars to put the canvas on, so I have those. And this is the canvas here. Here it is. I started it, I didn't get very far, but you can see in this flower here I started stitching it. So this is what the stretcher bars on a needlepoint canvas look like. And I hope I'm doing it right. I'm just going by the directions. so far I think it's turning out okay. It's really hard to tell what colors I'm supposed to be using where in this just by looking at the pattern they have. And then this picture, it's a little tricky. And of course it's so big. This is a really big one I started with, so it is a little hard to handle, but it's not hard though. It's really easy to do the stitching. It's just hard to tell where things might go. So I will keep working on that as I get a chance. That was fun and interesting to try something new. And then the other thing is crochet. I have a friend who has been making these star-shaped blankets, and I thought they looked so fun, and I used to crochet a lot and I haven't crocheted in a while, so I thought, why not start another project and make a blanket? So I'll show you what it looks like. I am using yarn from Hobby Lobby, sugar wheel, color by numbers. These are the colors. And I'm not sure it's turning out exactly how I want it, but this is what it looks like. It's really hard to show a blanket, especially a star-shaped blanket, but you can kind of tell how it's gonna look here with the stars. So that's going really well. And the pattern I'm using is, let me look here because I don't remember. I cannot find it right this second, but I will post a link to it down below when I find out what it was. It was a free pattern on a blog, and so it's really easy to do. It's very fun. It's fun to do crochet again, so I'll probably keep doing that, finish the blanket, and maybe keep a crochet project going as I'm also cross-stitching. I'm not sure how I'll find the time for everything I want to do, but we'll do what we can. And then other than that, that's about all I have for you guys today. That's my update. Still training for that marathon. Today I ran 10 miles. Last weekend I had to run a 13-mile or a half marathon distance, 13.1 for my long run. It'll just keep going up from there, but it's going good so far, no injuries. Work is busy. I'm training a couple new people, so talking a lot more than I normally would, which I'm not sure I like that, but it is what it is. That's my job, to train. So yeah, the boys are looking forward to the last few weeks of school here and getting done, and summertime. And other than that, there isn't much going on. So I will get back to possibly some cross-stitching this afternoon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!